Alright, guys. I hope you found me. I know that it just dropped me like a wet sack of potatoes, puppies, Play Doh. Any case, the stream collapsed for some reason, and I don't know why. Thanks, Obama. Thanks, YouTube. Uh, any case, we were talking about breeding, and we were kind of going to start the next chapter of this live stream down here. Anyhow, so let's. Okay, let's get back on track here, and hopefully, people can stumble back in and find where I'm at. But I thought I'd show you that one, there is a nice big old green dragon longfin Pleco that I've been growing up, and he's finally growing big and strong. And then the female, she's probably full size by now. She could get bigger, but I mean, she's big enough to be of breeding age any day now, if not already. And I hope you guys are finding where this stream popped back up. The ways of YouTube are a total mystery to me when things crash and then come back up. Superior Guppy? Oh, I got you. Well, I got you, babe. Vi, you found it. Yeah. So YouTube crashed, if you didn't notice, froze, or my internet did, or whatever, and then it opened a whole new YouTube window, it looks like, because now everybody's finding me. But that's okay, because we're starting kind of the second half of this uh, cast downstairs. And, oh, Animal Lover, what is up? And I just thought I'd show you that I have tidied up, got things a little organized in here, because we are going to be breeding some serious fish. So, in here, I wanted to show you the species that Lou Segura, hello, Joe Sherling. Looks like we're getting different people from the Swag Skywalker. What up, man? Uh, yeah, so it looks like we have different people than from when I started this cast and it crashed, but welcome aboard. As always, I'll go over the kind of info, and that is feel free to chime in and ask a question whenever you like. I might try to finish my thought just so playback later is more coherent. I've been getting feedback on that people would rather have me finish my thought than, finish a question for somebody. But I thought I'd show you what I'll be breeding in the winter in here. Well, we've got tiger teddies. These are a live bearer and found in Central America. They're a pretty cool striped live bearer. They get fairly big and they don't have huge baby clusters. They basically have a few babies at a time, and they're a little more solitary than like mollies or platies or guppies or anything like that. So they're a little different. It's different, but it's the same. Also, Kathy B, what's up? How is it going? And the chubby guppy back. All right, guys, we're rolling again here. Looks like. I don't know if Bob found his way back into here, but I appreciate my mods. So another new something that I got and I unboxed before, but now it's settled in, is this Asian fern, which is pretty cool. I dig it. It looks like maybe, I don't know, like a carrot or something. Not a carrot. What am I thinking? A radish or a lettuce or something. I'm trying to think of something with broad leaves rather than the parsley looking leaves, but it looks like it should grow underground. But I like the kind of central look. It's a rhizome plant. There's no roots or anything. It's all just hanging out on a thick Java fern like setup. So it's kind of similar to the African bulbitis. This is the Asian bulbitis. All right. So, the fish that I just bred and have film of breeding are these two gals here. See these females? There's the male coming into the picture. When they hold still, they're incredibly beautiful. You can Google them. They're called firebar Danios, not to be confused with flame Danios or blue fire Danios or Hikari fire Danios or flame bar Danio. There's so many names in the trade that it's just getting nuts. So these are Maytangensis, like the Maytang River, with the AE spelling on May, and then Tang, I think it also has an AE. So, not named after the Maytang River, but rather the region. And then it runs into the Shan region, which is where all my favorite nano fish seem to come from. Also in here, we've got the Aru2s. I plan to get them into a tank like this. This is a low pH tank. But I plan to get them in there. So right now we have Whiplash. What is going on, Bob? You found us. Sorry, I don't know what happened to the last stream. It crashed, and now you got this. But these are the Maytangensis firebar Danios, these kind of bluish gray ones, and they are beautiful under the right light. I mean, I think they're cool anyways. They're a little more subdued than some of the other larger bodied Danios in the hobby, but they get to about 2 inches. They have sometimes a little bit of orange or believe it or not, orange or blue. Those don't seem like those don't seem like the same spectrum, but whatever. In their tails, and then also what you see swimming around with the stripes, the horizontal stripes. Those are Brazilian dwarf, southern Brazilian dwarf pencilfish, and so those won't be coming into the country anymore because there's now an embargo on shipping them. So, toodaloo. Now, I wanted to show you guys what I just bred. So, that is what Bob just unboxed. So, we've got some Tin Winnie Danios. Tin Winnie, they're named, oddly enough, after Tin Win, which is a Burmese slash Thai and Cambodian and Singapore. They export to all those countries. Uh, it's a group that takes fish and houses them while they then in Burma, and then ships them out. So somebody went in and tried to curry favor with them, obviously, and named these little gold ring Danios, and you can see the size difference. So there's an adult gold ring Danio up here, swimming around right up here. If you see them, right, these two, three, and they're beautiful fish. They have this blue and purple sheen that shines in just the right light, and then their clear fins actually can be a beautiful dark red or purple, but only under like just the right light. So take a look at the size of these. They're almost as long as the honey gourami, okay? And when you look at that, we've got some babies that were just born about, oh, how long were they born now? 2 months ago, I suppose. Month and a half, 2 months ago. But here's a baby over here. And they're quick growers, these ones anyways, in this tank. You can see the size difference between the parents and the babies. I think we lost the baby again. But they are a cool little fish. I love them, despite them being named after a weird shipping company, their Latin name. But so I've got a good number of them in here, and there's two different populations, as I've been told, and one has a purple hue, and the other has a crimson hue. So their lower belly, if you look at their lower belly, let's try it. I guess all bellies are lower. Uh, let's pick one that is moving less quickly. We'll have a reflection, and the color will either be blue or like a dark bluish purple or a crimsony red. So here you see that reflections of the purple. That means it came from the Shan side of the river, or of the divide in the mountains there. Here we have a female Aru2. I'm also planning on breeding them. Interestingly enough, I've been able to breed the Aru2s just off a spawning mop in this tank. Look how densely vegetated this tank is. But those Aru2s are conditioned from before to breed on that yarn. And as long as I float it decently, they seem to be doing it. We're going to pick through here in a second, see if we can find some eggs. But yeah, so we've got the tiger teddies breeding, the Somfong rasboras from upstairs we have some fry of, and then we have fry from these the bronze with the bluish gray reflection, the firebar Danios / Maytangensis. Now the next thing I want to intentionally breed, oh, there goes some baby tin winnies. I guess scale's kind of hard for you guys to see on this because you don't know how close or far they are from the glass, but just trust me when I say that some are about 2 inches long and others are about 3/4 of an inch long. This guy right here is small. This one up here, and then there's another small one there. But they're hiding still, these youngins here, and they're skinnier, and they seem to have more yellow in their coat than the adults. The adults get more of like a purple or a bronze reflection as they get older. Also, just for the Aru2, the Pseudomcgill rainbow fish that I want to be encouraging to breed. Got 2 females in this set right now and like 5 males, which is not ideal, but that's fine. And like I said, I'm just going to leave this mop in and let them do what they do. Doing it and doing it and doing it well. So that's going on. The Plecos are old enough to breed probably, but they're probably going to be shy with all these other fish. They do have ceramic caves back in there and stuff, but I don't know. We'll see. So I wanted to show you guys that. Oh, and the Pandagaras have been getting frisky too, which is interesting. They're not well known for how to breed in captivity. Also, the panda Corys have been laying eggs on the glass, but most mornings I find 2 or 3 eggs. Throw those in the shrimp tank, and it's just kind of a race to try to get their eggs before everyone else, including them, eats the eggs for breakfast. So also gotta love the Pandagaras that are just lounging on these logs, getting bigger and bigger every day, which is awesome. And then we've got, these are another one I'm going to breed later this summer, hopefully. These are notoriously hard to keep alive, I've been told now by 3 pet shop owners. Oh, here's a really good example of a baby tin winnie. So you can see these 2 right here are very young compared to their parents, which will hopefully swim by them in a moment. But you can see up top there just how small some of these guys are still. Compared to their parents, who are over double their length. Also, the CPDs in here doing really well. They're well colored up, and they could spawn on their own in this. But what we're going to do to encourage the Rasboras and Danios is the same. And what we're going to do to encourage Plecos, Corydoras, and other catfish are all the same. So I'm going to explain that real quick, not super in depth. I'll do videos on that. But essentially, I'm feeding them, hold your breath, I'm feeding them worms. Disgusting white worms. And that bulks them up a lot, all of them. But especially the Corys that scrounge at the bottom. They really like those worms, and they kind of climb into the substrate and then be meals throughout the day, which is nice. So, as with most fish, I always start with bulking. So I'll bulk them up, and then when it's time to kind of really prep them, the other thing I forgot to mention is I do have these red eye lemon tetras that are kind of shy now, which is also interesting because they used to be nippy. Um, but they have been known to reproduce in this tank also. It's just a matter of whose fries survive and how thickly planted the tank is. I've kind of thinned out some sections of the tank that used to be so thick that I actually had neon tetras and things like that size surviving breeding. So uh, there's ups and downs with that. But you feed them real well. Let me make sure I haven't gotten any new chats. Will you ever breed bettas? Yeah, I will. Actually, uh, what's his name? Steve at the Aquariums Zen. He has some betta maculosa, I believe they are. And they are incredible looking. I'm going to do an interview with him, hopefully, and show you guys that. But I probably won't be breeding like placots or, you know, I don't know, half moons or anything like fancy that you'd see at like Petco, like the not frivolous, but the ornamental. Sorry, frivolous. That wasn't kind. The ornamental varieties. I'm more interested in the wild, like strawberry bettas or maculosas. You know, those are so cool. Um, so we'll see. Also, you can see that my super reds still getting bigger, doing well. All, the worms also help them. They don't look so super red through the glass, but they look a little more red when you can see them from straight down. If we can get a view of them. Well, he's already gone. But there's another one. You can see that orange to red color a little bit more than when you just look at them. So, what we do then, we take this box. I made this box specifically, so you'll recognize. Let me zoom out. Sorry, guys. You'll recognize this is just like a Petco, PetSmart breeder box, fry keeper, whatever you want to call it. These sidebars are way too big for these nano fish. The fry can fit through these for over a month. They can go in and out of those. So the only way to effectively use those is to keep just the adults in them. So you can put them in the 5 gallon or 10 gallon or 20 gallon, whatever it is, tank that you're using, and put one for males and females. And then basically what I do is I let them go in the open tank. Then I just scoop them back up. I put a ton of leaf litter, and this is for all the low pH rasboras and also Danios. The gold ring Danios, this works well. You don't need quite as low of a TDS, but it helps. So what you do is, and this is more extreme with some species than others, and I can make videos about that in the future. But what you do is you use tannins to lower the pH in the tank. So you add leaves, you add catappa leaves, or Malaysian driftwood, whatever it takes. Just add tannins to the tank that will buffer the pH down. No plants, because plants, even duckweed, finally something kills it, dies in like 4.0 pH. So I do that, but you want to make sure that you're aerating the heck out of your water, and that the TDS isn't too high. Just because in the wild, that's the way it goes. Even though this water is almost corrosive, you can see here this tank is where I had the Somfongsi and the Maytangensis both give birth. So I let the adults out. They spread their eggs around for 2 or 3 days. Then I pen them back up. Then I threw them back up into the main tank. And I want to breed these little rummy nose rasboras next, along with, I mean, there's so many fish. These hatchet Danios I also would like to breed. I just don't have enough room for all the things I want to breed. Um, but yeah, so what I did here, and I've never tried this before on this small slash large of a scale with the vinegar eels, small scale with the tank. So there was nothing in this tank. You see all the debris and junk now? That's mostly bacteria or fungi or, I don't know. But this stuff all happened from using vinegar. So what I think happened is we had a ginormous colony. At first the water was cloudy for a few days and stuff. We had a ginormous at like 4.5 pH. We had a ginormous spike in the amount of bacteria growing from the vinegar, because you can see the vinegar kind of has a similar thing going on. And then these are vinegar eels, and this is half apple cider vinegar, half water. And here, I hope you can kind of see if you look carefully in that lightest panel, those are teeny tiny little worms swimming around that texture. So that texture, I had been adding. So this tank was only filled halfway, and this is what I do for both my Danios and my Corys, and my Plecos if I can help it. So I'll put the water at halfway or maybe 60%, and then I will crank the heat up. And for like 2 weeks, I'll just, after I've conditioned them and kept the males and females apart, males, females, crank up the heat, feed them live food, get them nice, fat, healthy, full of vitamins and nutrition, smelling each other but not being able to do anything about it. And then I will take the vinegar eels, and in this case, instead of adding like a shot glass worth each day, I added like half a cup to a cup each day with the vinegar, and that dropped the pH extremely low. Like I said, that alone accounted for it going all the way down to 4, where it is now. But when you get that low, bacteria cannot survive in most cases, most beneficial bacteria. And so it starts to form, the dead ones start to slough off and get cloudy, murky, and then a new bacteria, an anaerobic or non oxygen needing, or just a rougher, tougher bacteria forms. And so I don't know yet. This is still a test. I repeat, this is a test. That if this works, it's going to be a great way for me to easily breed fish that need low pH. But there's actually a fish in here, if I could get him to appear. There we go. And it is a ruby tetra, one who likes low pH, and he's doing fine. That looks a little unclear how he is. Not gasping, he's just hanging out doing his thing. So I'm on the fence thinking that actually the vinegar was not as harmful as everyone says about washing it. But I'll let you know. I'm going to keep up on this and keep trying. But the eggs kept hatching in this really vinegary solution. You can see here where I took my finger and I smeared the edge of the glass just to show the difference of how big these aufukes or bacteria colonies are. However, I suspect that something, be it a catfish or a shrimp or a snail, would absolutely love to eat that stuff. So we will see what happens. I do have to say that the fish seems a little more sluggish, but he's also alone in a completely empty tank with no plants. So, be it this tank or this tank, which is the tank that I breed my Corys in, my Cory Julii, which actually aren't Julii, they're a look-alike, they're the false Julii, which I just had someone point out to me, and I got these at Aquarium Co-op and Aquarium Zen, I want to say, and basically, I forgot that there was a look-alike that has this beautiful. You see that zigzagging pattern on their tail? I like that. In a real Julii, it's just spotted, and for some reason, I didn't notice that or think about it. I just assumed they both said Julii. Here we go, and so those and the Habrosis are in here, which are the second smallest species of Corydora. Love them, plus some wild shrimp, and Neocaridina, that is. And then my Babaltes I've moved up here as well. But what you do, water line down here again, and then you gradually fill it up. You keep that water at like 84 degrees, just hot water. Don't put your other fish in it if they can't handle it. 82 actually. Let's be more realistic. I keep it around 82 for these 2 weeks, and then I fill in water each day so that they're feeling the pressure increasing a little bit, a little bit, a little bit. But it's the nitrates, everything is a little bit higher to start with. Like you start with you let your tank get kind of dirty, and then you just pull out 40% of the water, and that's your start point for the way I do this. So then what you do is you add just a little bit day by day, topping it off, feeding them lots of good worms and Daphnia and shrimp or pellets or spirulina, whatever they like, whatever the fish is into. And then since this is a planted tank, we're not dropping the pH super low. We're dropping it to around 6. And from there, then that last, say, you leave 20% or so, and you dump in 10-degree colder water. You crank up the filter, and you really slosh that water in. I make sure that I pour it, and then I pick it up again, and I pour it again. I make a pretty loud, sloshy event of it at night, and then usually without fail the next morning, if they were fat and they were exhibiting like males following females and getting into the T position, which is one swimming here and another one comes up and hits it in the belly. When you see that, you know that they're ready. And this is also a new experiment in which I have just left a tangle of these yarn balls, I guess. I wouldn't call them. I don't know what I'd call them, but they're just a bunch of yarn tangled up, acrylic yarn, so it doesn't rot. And I've found that when I take these out on any given day, there are eggs in it. And when I put the eggs down here into a fishless tank, lo and behold, I end up hatching out Corydoras at a slow rate, like 1 or 2 viable eggs a week seem to come out, which is actually an okay rate for me, because I wasn't trying to pump them out like crazy. I didn't know where to put them, and that just lets my colony just steadily kind of grow. I would prefer, when I do the big water changes, that they lay their eggs on the glass and that I watch for it in the morning or night, and that boom, I can go collect 50 or 100 eggs and put them in an egg keeper. But such is life. All right. So, let's see, have you guys said anything? Yarn is the way to go then. Yeah, I mean, they're spawning mops. I think yarn, I can't say that it's the way to go yet. But I am getting eggs out of it that normally I can't find. And that's the key, is that densely tangled in there that when I pull it out, there's all sorts of junk in there. Sometimes it's gross, slimy food that they pulled in there and never ate or whatever. But the bottom line is there are eggs in there, and I can tell usually because they're kind of like a amber color instead of a white foggy color. And then I will take those and I'll put them down here. Sometimes I'll put them in a little container in some acrylic gauze or filter floss. And then in that filter floss, I'll put an egg and then I'll twist the filter floss around it so that the shrimp can't get at it and so that fungi isn't as tempted to grow on it. And that seems to work. So now down here, this is where my fry, this is the easiest way to raise fry ever. It may not have the best results. With nano species, I get about probably 50% return on the amount of eggs or fry that I start with. So that's not huge, but for me, it's totally fine when there's like 50 to 100 of fish. So if you notice, looking carefully, let's look down real small. So we've got our shrimp. They're hanging out, having their shrimp little party. What's up? I'm a shrimp. I'm having a party with a snail. And doing their thing. There is a trumpet snail, Malaysian trumpet snail, egg glob right there. And then over here, I'm just trying to show you guys some of the copepods and stuff. So you guys have probably all seen. Have you tested the vinegar solution with any plants? I haven't. I mean, I know that they don't like the vinegar solution at all. Uh, but mixed into water at the level that they are, because it's still like 9 parts water to 10 parts vinegar, or maybe even like 20 to 1, when all's said and done. But at that level, they're fine. They're fine with it at that level. But any higher, yeah, no good. Okay, so here you go. You can see little white bugs on the screen, dead center, moving. These are called seed shrimp, and if you look at them, there's actually about 30,000 species of little copepods, zooplankton, phytoplankton, etc. There's another one right under the tail of this Malaysian trumpet snail on the very back. It looks like a little Jesus fish cross. And then there's a little climbing thing of some sort, and you see that, whatever that is. That's probably a little copepod. Um, I don't know what that is actually. That's kind of an interesting looking one. That little oval that looks to have an eye and interesting. So, always something new in your fish tank once you take a close look. But yeah, so I let that stuff all grow, and I don't worry about planaria so much. I mean, if they were everywhere, yes, I would get concerned. But this amount, I'm not worried about at all. And even though I just put food in here, yeah, there's maybe 20 planaria that I can see if I look all over the tank. Like, here's another one back up here. And that's the size I don't like seeing. So if I can, I'll usually kill the ones that are that big and easy to see. But, I mean, these blue shrimp don't seem to mind at all. They seem to be fine. And this is also my breeder tank. You can see the shrimp that's fighting for food here. The one on top, she probably doesn't make the cut. Her translucency on her tail, to me, is not good enough, and so I will remove her from the breeding pool. Now, where the little white seed things are whizzing by, they are perfect for these little fish. And these little fish, as darling as they are, these are the two different, the Rasbora and the Danio. They are as skinny as a hair on your arm. If you don't have big wiry arm hair, uh, and They're probably about, at their widest, they're about the size of a human eyelash. So, pretty cool how small they are. They were born a week ago and they've grown double of the size of when I first saw them, which was almost impossible to see them. I was like, "What the heck? What is that? Are those little copepods?" And sure enough, the the Danios seem to save the day there. So, just looking for more of them. It's hard to find them and like follow them. Let's see here. Man, I could use the Dr. Pepper right about now. Okay, so there we got some shrimp and some fish in the same frame. They're not on the same depth of focus. Let me try to find an example of that so you can see the size. Up here, we also have a lot more blue dream shrimp. So, as people have asked me about breeding shrimp for profit, I would also say that even in this tank, I'm hesitant to breed for profit at this number. I like to have a good 50 or 100 shrimp in a tank and then draw the line and say, I will always have 60 shrimp in this tank, and then I can let it go up from there. Because every generation starts getting exponential, and if you treat the animal well, it's gonna respond in kind and create more little critters for you. So I always like to save and err on the side of caution. It's bit me in the butt too many times over the years taking care of fish and raising shrimp and stuff, where I've sold my tipping point of what's sellable without causing a major hit to my tank and my ability. I may be able to sell that month, but then the next month only half as many shrimp come out. I sell those, and then the next month a quarter as many, and then pretty soon you're not able to bring any to sell. So that is the deal. I hope you could see all the little fish. They're starting to really show up a lot better. These are those same bluish Danios, which is cool. And then over here, quarantine tank. Ugh, sorry guys, my knees are sore. And then up here, we've got the cherry red. These guys are just your normal painted fire that I've been trying to improve. But you know what they did? You know what these little jerks did? They started turning into really or Riley shrimp. So some of them, man, that's bad glare. Some of them are like a great example of a super red shrimp, solid, doing well. And then there's some new babies that were just born, and some of them, I think they came from her. She's got this clear spot on her cheek, and her legs aren't quite solid. Other than that, most of them are pretty solid red. And so now let me find one of the little guys that is throwing off the game. Uh, because now I'm trying to decide, well, am I gonna start a colony of these Riley or really reds, or do we call it a day and sadly Cole sell off or whatever these Rileys? Now they don't usually, anyways. They don't just like poof. Oh, it's a perfect Riley. This one's really interesting. To I want to try to save this one and get it to reproduce more. Now it is a red line shrimp. That is a It's kind of like a pink line, but as it gets older and in certain lights, it's gold. And I would love to see red shrimp with gold lines. So, I may set that one aside also and try to breed with similar shrimp. That one looks to be maybe a female. It's hard to tell because it's flexing its tail as though it wants to Yeah, probably a female, the way it's cleaning underneath the shell and everything under its carapace. And then this is clearly just a beautimous girl, but her knee joints and everything aren't completely fire red, so there's some more work to do. I should be selecting her out. Well, maybe not her, but I should be making sure that at least with her, only the best quality of males exist. Also, this guy, we have two dominant males now in here. They're alpha males. Focus. 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 Um, Maybe you won't get to see their opulescence, their beauty. But yeah, this guy here with the purple and the blue, the dual sword tail with lavender on both, and then leopard spots and a yellow leopard fin on his dorsal fin. He's one that I would love to see more of. And then also there is a yellow one that was crossed with a rainbow leopard endler. And so, as I've said, I'd love to see more of those. So that's why we are storing guppies upstairs. Now, this guy, yeah, he's pretty. He looks like a Japanese blue in that he's got this beautiful pastel reflective blue. And that reflective color is key because that reflective color, which screws with the camera, is actually a whole trait called iridophores, and that's a different type of cell than the color cell, which are the pigment or the chromatophores. So it has to have both to shine that color or to do the color change, and then also genetics and epigenetic changes in its life and around specific areas in the tank, for instance, if it wants to blend in somewhere or whatever. Up here, I think this might be one of them. Yeah, this might be. Oh no, it's just this one's about to molt. So you can actually see if the guppies would get out of the way. Come on, guppies. When I want to film you, you're nowhere to be found, and when I don't, you're everywhere I don't want you to be. So this is a really cool picture for you guys if you can see this. It's you can see its rostrum has already slipped out of its skin. You see that, guys? So what it'll be doing here, there's a crack in its center, and on its tail you can see that it's already slipping out, but it's making itself uh, a bigger area to grow. It's got a bigger shell underneath, and the other shell will be peeled off. And right now, it's going to happen tonight or tomorrow, or it'll fail and the shrimp could die. But yeah, here you can see again that rostrum is slipping out. Some of the legs have like weird hangy areas, and also that carapace has split at the center, and that's usually they split on top in the shoulder, and they crawl out through a hole in the center of their back. But sometimes they'll crawl out through a hole when they're bent sideways. And a lot of times you'll see little pieces of them kind of flying off. But then it's important not to remove those little doodads from the skin. See, it's actually trying to pull its hands out of that skin. And you can see there's a leg that's hollow with nothing in it. It's just hanging there. So it's slowly getting rid of its coat there. So that's, you guys have gotten to see some cool little live stuff tonight. So uh, that always makes it a fun live cast for me. Also, like I said, I love these some of these other endlers, but they don't make the cut. They're beautiful. I know they're gonna mature and they're gonna have cool markings, but right now I need to get just generation after generation with these two males. so that they all have either the purple lyre tail and golden leopard back, or the blue and green, blue and purple with the bright yellow leer or lyre tail. So there's that. Also, the blue Moscow guppy looking great. Also, this is from Bentley Pasco. And there's babies up here. Babies. Where are you, babies? There's some babies. And then there's also a few female adults in here. I think there's 3 now. So hopefully we will have more males again soon. But iridophores that I was just talking about that are different than color skin cells or scale cells, iridophores are the reflective color, and that's how these ones can look like they have green and gold and blue and all these like iridescent colors and really just not. That's just crystals underneath their skin, and then they have a base pigment below that. Beyond that, I'm breeding some pure gold line shrimp from Lucas Bretz. These are hands down, in a way, the best yellow shrimp that I see around the hobby lately. And they are just super bright no matter where I find them. I put probably right now there's 10 in here, and I tried to do like four males and 6 females or something along those lines. And they're kind of just eating detritus left over from the plants and from the females. And we're gonna see after the first pregnancy if it's possible to get them to reproduce in these mosses and stuff, even with the guppies there. All right, guys, do you have any last minute questions? I got to get out of here. My time is over. Keith Bordeley, shrimpandplants.com. What's going on? I'm guessing you didn't get an alert, just like a lot of people. Jason, I don't know. I can't figure out the system. It also crashed my system. The system is down. The system is down. Oh, lights turned off. And for me, I don't have this on a timer, so old school, but I actually turn off my gas by hand. That's why I never crank the gas super high in here. And yeah, so I think you guys have seen everything. Please go back and take a look at the video if you were curious. I have another 5-gallon tank. I don't know where or how or what I'm going to do. I've thought about doing 1, 2, 3 of the 5 gallons here. I don't, can you even, maybe it could fit 4? Let's see here. 1, 2, yeah, I think it could fit 4, but then the hang off the back might have to be in the front, which would be funky. But yeah, I hope you guys are doing well. Like, subscribe, go back, look through the videos, and share. Also, the giveaway stuff's still going on. Will be going on through early January. So buy some gift cards from Aquatic Arts, even though they're not shipping right now. Use the discount, buy from Flip Aquatics, and use the discount listed history with the capital H, and then the number 10 at the end. So history 10. And that will support Rob and his Caradinas, his trans-shipping from great sources around the world. And keep an eye out for shrimpandplants.com, because he and I will be running amok in totally not the traditional sense of the word. No, we have plans to be doing some projects together, and he lives nearby. So this shrimp really is odd to me in that it looks so haggard. It'll be molting soon, but it hasn't successfully molted. And oftentimes, when they can't do that anymore, when they reach that age, they just kind of get stuck in their shell of the same size in this cycle. And you can see it's getting tight on him. So I don't know. I hope he makes it, but it's possible that he may be having some serious problems here. Also, Malaysian trumpet snail eggs. Somebody asked the other day the difference between Malaysian trumpet snail eggs and other eggs. So these are, let's see if I can get it showing here. These are Malaysian trumpet snail eggs. They are bonkers. Where are they? Right here. Hold on, guys. Sorry, I'm so zoomed in. I'm having it. Hey, stop that, Jason. Right here. Those are Malaysian trumpet snail eggs. When you see just a gabillion of them like that, not in a white gel. But if they don't have a male to come fertilize it, it's just a big waste of time, and it's just gross. Nearite snails also do that, but there's no nearites in here. So the other snails, they'll just be hanging out on the glass and stuff. Also of note that's weird is this little guy is not even a quarter-inch long, and he was born months ago. Whatever, and some are like an inch and a half, almost 2 inches long now. Uh, Gosh, get out of the way, thermo. Yeah, look at all those eggs from one snail. It's insane. And they're really stuck on there. Like, you'd have to rip that leaf out to do anything about it. These are all my leopard endlers. These are all from Lucas Brett's, either leopard or tiger endlers. However, these are all modified to my specifications, which means paddle tail or spade tail, and then some striping, blue around the edges, blue around the top with spots, and iridescence that makes them every color when you turn the lights off. Uh, Pygmy Pleco. Yeah, could be a Pygmy Pleco. So yeah, that's what's going on in the tanks tonight. That's how I plan to be breeding stuff. See, here's another one of them that's twice the size of the other one. Shrimpandplants.com. Thank you so much, sir, for the super chat. I appreciate it. On a personal note, I have a little something for you and the family next time I see you. Uh, Seriously, just a little something. But you know what's up if you see something you need. Uh, making friends from the YouTube into the real life has its perks, I would hope. So yeah, these are those bulbs I got for free down in Portland, or not. Why did I say free? I got 6 of them or 8 of them for $2. Might as well have been free. But yeah, Madagascar lace plant, $17 plant at the store by our house, 12 for a little bulb, and there's a bunch of just different stuff that's popped out of those bulbs. A bunch of them were duds too. But this tank, look at all the Anubias too. It's just kind of a holding tank, and I'm using that as the shrimp breeding tank hiding area so that they're not so stressed out. And also, of course, the baby guppies love it too. So. Starting to not get my words out and starting to get a dry mouth. So, it's time to turn this party down for the night. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for sticking with, liking, all that stuff. Sorry about the bumpy technical difficulties and all that jazz. I'll be back with some longer, more in-depth, cool videos. One on tannins, another one on more camouflage and pigmentation, and a couple other things I have up my sleeves. So including some interviews, planning for AGA, maybe behind the scenes at Amazon's ecospheres, the balls of Seattle, as we like to joke about here in Seattle. So yeah, Vi, as always, pleasure having you here. Same with you, Kathy. Same with all of you. But yeah, and then I'll also be selecting more giveaway stuff as time goes on. Dr. Pepper time for sure. I am like, that's gross. It's white, but I need it's like water. What's water? No, I'm gonna hit water first, and then it's like I need to go to the store and get some Dr. Pepper. Yeah. So, all right, guys. I hope you have a wonderful night and take care of each other. Take care of your fish and yourselves during this hectic time of year. And I'll talk to you later. Bye, guys.